Afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to do a little bit of jumping around on a couple different points. Going off one of my previous vlogs on about how Stalin was trying to drag the Soviet Union into the 20th century. We're touching a couple different points. I was planning on doing this further down the road, but got a bee in my bonnet, so I kind of can't. And then you're probably going to hear a lot of motorcycles because it's a beautiful day out here in the park and everyone's on their Harleys and driving their hot rods, so there's nothing I can do about that, but it's a beautiful day here in Cleveland. Anyway, moving right along. Now, talking about events happening in early 1941. Actually, more like at the end of 1940. World War II has been underway for quite some time at this point. Hitler, at this point, he's planning his Operation Barbarossa, his invasion of the Soviet Union, and his people who began referring to him as Hitler's stooge, Benito Mussolini. He wanted to show Italian strength and prowess by invading Greece, because at first he did an ultimatum to Greece saying, hey, give us control of some of your key points or else we're going to invade, and the Greeks said no, it's not happening, long story short. And so out of Albania, Italy attacked Greece in early 1941. There was a little problem. The Greeks didn't just lie down. They were outmanned, outgunned, and everything outsupplied, but still the Greeks fought like tigers. They fought and they held their position. So needless to say, in the early stages, Mussolini was in a real fix. And so Hitler kind of gets a glimpse of this, and he's like, okay, I got to bail him out. And so he tries to send troops down south through his allies that he's pushed into helping him out, like Bulgaria and Hungary and things like that. And he pushes they succeed in badgering the leader of Yugoslavia in the Balkan region into agreeing to an alliance with Hitler. Kind of the same way, though, that the leader of Czechoslovakia was badgered by Ribbentrop into submitting, saying, give us what we want or else. So he's kind of did it at gunpoint. Even though he's the leader of Yugoslavia, said, okay, we'll be your ally, the people weren't having it. Mind you, this is the Balkans, place where you have the Bosnians, the Serbians, the Croats, the Slovenians and Macedonians and all. I mean, these are people that just don't lie down. And so they rose up and they started fighting on this matter. So Hitler is already planning his situation with Barbarossa. He has to stop, pull men out of his preparations to hit in Poland, to move them south to go against the Balkan area. So they hit Yugoslavia in May of 1940, and then they help Mussolini go down even further and they take Greece. And so they say that effectively pushed back the date of Operation Barbarossa by a full 6 weeks. So that's one way to benefit it. So it didn't start in the beginning of May 1941, rather it started on June 22nd. So that's one way that it actually helped the Soviet Union. Now, another part in talking about how Stalin was dragging the Soviet Union into the 20th century by upgrading everything and bringing it up to standard, one thing they had not touched upon yet was the roads. There was no highway system, and the roads pretty much were still all dirt. Now, why is that a big deal? Every year, twice a year, in the Russian area, Belarus, and Ukraine area, they have what's called Raputista. It's called the thaw. That is where after heavy rains, or after when the snow melts, all of the roads become a thick mess of goo. It's like, to put it in this way, it's like trying to drive your truck through like a 10-foot puddle of a molasses that's 10 miles long. That's how bad it was for the Germans. They're trying to move their troops. Their stuff's getting stuck in the mud. The horses are getting tired. They are completely stuck. So that's one way that the automation, or the lack of automation in the Soviet Union, actually helped protect them. So it slowed the German army down considerably. Army Group Center kept pushing toward Moscow, but they weren't able to go at 1/2 the speed they would have liked to because they didn't have the means to do it. And more motorcycles, bear with me. Now moving on to another thing that helped save the Soviet Union was Hitler was, Hitler is one of the main reasons why they actually wound up winning the war against the Nazis. But Hitler's attitude was that the Soviet Union was so corrupt and the place was such a mess, he just simply said, all you have to do is kick in the door and the whole rotten structure will come crashing down. That's what his view was on the whole Soviet Union. He thought that they'd be destroyed in a matter of 6 weeks to 2 months, all in the Soviets. And he was so to where he was not even willing to issue winter clothing to his men in any sort of anticipation. He said, basically, there's no excuse for you guys to not have this done by the end of September. That was his attitude. But as things slowed down, the invasion got pushed back because of the mess in the Balkans, and because of the Rapatista, they were slowly making their way to Moscow. And the thing is, what's odd was in the middle of October, one of the harshest winters in the history of Russia hit around that time. It was a major Arctic blast. They say it was the coldest winter in 80 years that hit that region. Meanwhile, you have the German soldiers that are all there, you know, in their thin summer clothes. They're quickly freezing to death. They're quickly getting frostbite. The machines aren't starting. The animals are freezing. Everything's going to, how shall we say, the capital of Montana in a handbasket. And you look that one up. And Hitler won't have it, but basically the freeze actually stopped the Germans within a dozen miles of Moscow. There were actually German troops right on the western suburbs of Moscow, where there's one soldier. I got to stop a BBC documentary where he reaches. There's a train station, and there was a box in there. And you open it up, and there's a train ticket that said to Moscow. That's how close they were. They could see the spires of Moscow. So, in that situation, you see these three things. You have the Balkans and Mother Nature. Those are what saved the Soviet Union in 1941. So there you go.